Throughout recorded time, human civilization has risen and fallen like waves on a stormy sea. History is often a catalog of horrors written in blood.
Behind the monuments of our modern world stand men whose power became poison. Their ambition eclipsed their humanity, altering the destiny of millions.
Our journey begins on the windswept grasslands of ancient Mongolia. There, a boy named Temujin was born into a life of starvation and betrayal.
Hardship forged a belief in him that mercy was weakness. Temujin united the feuding clans into an unstoppable war machine known as the Mongols. He took the name Genghis Khan, the universal ruler. Under his command, cities that resisted were wiped from the map entirely. To his people, he was a lawgiver. To the world, he was fear itself. Tens of millions perished as the earth trembled under his cavalry's hooves.
A century later, a conqueror named Timur rose to surpass even the Mongol brutality. He did not march simply to rule, but to obliterate. Timur left behind towering pyramids made of 90,000 severed skulls. His name became a silent, sudden terror that filled rivers with blood.
In the 15th century, Prince Vlad Dracula defended Wallachia through absolute terror. He turned the forest itself into a psychological weapon.
Invading armies retreated at the sight of forests of the impaled. To some, he was a patriot, but to history, he became the vampire of myth. In Moscow, a child Tsar named Ivan rose to power, eventually consumed by a mind-shattering paranoia. He would become Ivan the Terrible. His black-robed secret police, the Oprichniki, erased entire lineages. In a fit of rage, he struck down his own son and heir.
In the 20th century, Pol Pot attempted to erase civilization in Cambodia. He dreamed of a pure agrarian society without cities or books.
Nearly 2 million people vanished in the killing fields. Brutality no longer needed swords. It wielded ideology like a weapon.
Then came Adolf Hitler, a man who turned hatred into industrial policy. He unleashed a storm that reduced Europe to rubble. The Holocaust was genocide carried out with bureaucratic efficiency and chemical gas. By the end, 70 million people were dead.
These figures rose because ordinary people helped them, out of fear or silence. Power without restraint is a shadow that can grow anywhere.
History is not a cycle. It repeats when we fail to heed its warnings. Freedom is fragile and must be defended against the darkness within.
The human story is also about those who resisted and refused to surrender their humanity. They are the light that ensures darkness never rules unchecked.
Let these names serve as sentinels guarding the future. The most dangerous person is the one the world allows to keep absolute power.
Human civilization has risen and fallen like waves on a stormy sea. Behind the monuments of history lies a catalog of horrors written in blood.
Our journey begins on the wind-swept grasslands of ancient Mongolia. A child named Temujin was born to a minor chief, destined for hardship rather than rule.
After his father was poisoned, Temujin survived by hunting and sheer force of will. These hardships forged a belief that power was the only means of survival. He united the feuding clans, transforming them into an unstoppable war machine. He took a new name, Genghis Khan, the universal ruler.
Mongol cavalry thundered across Asia, moving faster than any army before them. Cities that resisted were simply wiped from the map.
A century later, Timur the Lame rose between Persia and India. He did not march simply to rule, he marched to obliterate.
In Syria, it is whispered he stacked 90,000 severed heads in a single square. To Timur, conquest was an art form that demanded slaughter.
In the misty mountains of Eastern Europe, Prince Vlad Dracula chose terror as his shield. He protected his kingdom of Wallachia with forests of wooden stakes.
The sight of the impaled dead was so horrifying that entire invading armies retreated in fear.
To history, he became the inspiration for the vampire myth.
In Moscow, a young Ivan the Terrible rose to power, eventually consumed by paranoia. He created the oprichniki, black-robed riders who executed entire families. In a fit of rage, Ivan struck his own son and heir with a staff. The Tsar was left howling in torment as his future and his mind collapsed.
In the 20th century, Pol Pot turned his cruelty on his own people in Cambodia. He dreamed of a pure agrarian society without technology or cities.
Nearly 2 million Cambodians perished in the killing fields. This brutality was fueled not by ancient swords, but by a modern ideology used as a weapon.
In Germany, Adolf Hitler used propaganda and hatred to build a dictatorship. He unleashed a metal tide of war that swept across the entire European continent.
Behind the lines, he turned genocide into an industrial process. The Holocaust used trains and gas chambers to exterminate millions in silence.
These figures rose because ordinary people followed, served, or remained silent. Their power was a gift from the fearful and the complicit. History warns us that freedom is fragile and justice is not permanent. Civilization must be defended from the darkness that grows within any system.
We tell these stories so the names of the dangerous serve as sentinels, for history repeats only when we fail to heed the lessons etched in blood.